Hey everybody, this is Joe. Thank you for watching my Giga Texas construction update video.
Well, welcome back out to Wednesday, and it has been a busy news cycle for the last 24 hours here at Giga Texas, and I'm going to go through just a few of them in case you hadn't heard. First off, Elon Musk gave a couple of interviews yesterday, and he talked a lot about the upcoming robotaxi unveiling and that event that's going to come up here in Austin. He has reiterated that that is still on track, but we did get a few other additional details about how this is going to work and how the whole robotaxi fleet idea is going to be rolling out. It's going to be starting here, coming up in a few weeks here at Austin. We're just about 10 days away from June, so we're very close to that event. He said that initially it's going to be about 10 cars, and it's going to be an invite-only event to kick this off. But after about a week or so, they're going to be able to start increasing that number. Now they're going to be using the Model Ys predominantly for the initial couple of months of the robotaxi fleet as they build this out. And he said that within a month or so, it wouldn't be surprised if the number of vehicles increased to about 1,000. Now they are doing a very cautious approach with this rollout, which I think is very understandable. They're going to be using kind of a geofenced section of Austin initially to do all the tests to make sure everything is working out the way they expect. And then they will gradually start increasing not only the numbers of the vehicles, but also the size around Austin. And so anyway, it just seems like they're ready to go. They're going to be going very cautious, and we're going to be seeing that very soon. Now, in addition, yesterday here at Giga Texas, Secretary of Transportation Sean Duffy arrived and got a tour of the production facility, the lines for both the Model Ys and the Cybertruck, even got a chance to drive in an autonomous vehicle. And overall, just it was really great to see him here to highlight all of the work that is going on, not only at Giga Texas, but around the world, that all the Tesla employees have been doing. They've been working extremely hard, not only with producing vehicles, but a lot of groundbreaking technology. Now, he did get a chance to get an autonomous drive around the facility, so he got a chance to see how that works. And of course, that's great because he's currently soliciting input from a lot of different companies, including Tesla, about how to make a nationwide autonomous driving standard so that there's not 50 individual ones for each of the states. And I think not only Elon, but pretty much anybody in the business is definitely for that. So I think that's great to see. In addition to that, he also highlighted some of the work with the Tesla AI, the full self-driving, of course, but also the Tesla Optimus Robot. And they had a few here at the factory while he was doing the tour and got to show off a little bit about their capabilities. And I think this is also great to see because just like getting the federal requirements set up for the autonomous driving around the country, I think having federal requirements for robotic humanoid robots, kind of like what Optimus is going to be important as well. And then overall, the whole AI movement, I think that is also great to be able to showcase what is going on, what are the capabilities in a way that maybe a larger audience got a chance to see. And as I mentioned, it's just great that he was here to feature all of this. So anyway, a lot of big news going on yesterday, and all of it was here at Giga Texas. Of course, there's a lot more as well, but for the intro, I'll just kind of leave it at that. There's many different social media sites that you can see more of the videos and see more of the activity here. Now, speaking of which, why don't we take the time to get the drone in the air, fly around and see what Giga Texas looks like on this beautiful Wednesday.
If you would like to support my efforts, please consider using these links, which will be in the video description. If you are considering purchasing Starlink, I would recommend that you use my referral link at the bottom of the screen. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons on my YouTube video, as this helps as well. Thank you. My drones are ready and raring to go. Let's go flying over Giga Texas. morning from the southeast side of Giga Texas. We're going to fly around here just to get a brief look at what is going on here on the east side over by the parking garage. This pond on the left-hand side of the screen. Of course, the material staging yard that is starting to fill up with more items, especially some of those pipes that are being manufactured over on the east side workshops. And we also see those contractor trailers off to the left, and the kind of empty testing and calibration lot directly ahead. And it doesn't look like there's really any activity here at all. As I get ready to zoom in, we can tell that tent-like structure that's right near the superchargers. Perhaps it's being used for some of that inductive charging testing. It's hard to tell. But also we see all of these temporary platforms along the east side of Body in White. This one here, a taller one that goes up to that third floor, which is added with that mezzanine that they've been building on the inside. And of course, a shot across the top of the parking garage to the south part of the Body in White structure and part of the stamping machine section directly ahead. And then we can see the extension of the factory, that window line, the temporary platform that's being used for equipment to be put up into that part of the factory. The trench at the bottom right, now they have kind of dividers all around it with a small bridge to drive vehicles over as they continue to work on that. On the ground, we see those temporary pipes that are draining out some of the coolant from the cooling plant. 5 of the 6 fans are working today, which is kind of an indication of what's going on with Cortex 1 on the inside. And of course, a top-down view of that platform. While I'm here, I'm going to fly over the roof section, and I wanted to show you the continued progress with adding more solar panels to the roof. Now they're putting this kind of thin line at the bottom of all of the letters that are spelled out with the solar panels, and they've worked their way all the way over to the flagpoles, as you can tell. And they're starting to put more of those unirack mounts down onto the weatherproof membrane and getting ready to put more of the solar panels here, working from the south to the north. Now, in a little later part of the video, I'm going to show you more solar panels being lifted up to the roof, and that is all part of expanding this solar panel, at least on this thin line for now. Eventually, I do expect to see more of the solar panels filled out on to the roof, but that is the extent of the work that's going on right now. Now, as I bring the drone down here on the west side, that's a nice view of the flagpoles, the west main entrance, and on the left-hand side of the screen is that exit point for the new Model Ys, and you can tell they are coming out, driving autonomously. They have to deal with traffic as they, for the very first time, drive on their own, and then they work their way all the way to the west end of line facility. And I have shown you that path before on a previous video, but it's about 1.5 miles. This is part of the display that was used for the Secretary of Transportation, Sean Duffy's visit yesterday, and most of that activity took place in that west main entrance and also that exit point that we just saw those Model Ys coming out of the factory. Now I'm going to continue to fly to the south along this central roadway, and I wanted to just give you an update on what is going on with this part of the factory. That temporary platform was removed. They've installed all the windows except for that one blank panel. They've done some more of the concrete work just below the drone. And then here, as I come in lower, because there's no equipment now around this area, I can show you this kind of drive path that extends into the factory next to the Boring Company's tunnel, where the Cybertrucks enter and continue to drive underneath the highway to the right of the screen, and then it exits on the other side. So it's kind of a through pathway. In addition to that, here on the southwest corner, they are adding in those wall panels. This is very similar to what we've seen in other parts of the factory. They have the steel studs and bracing installed, as you can tell. Now they're putting these panels on, and then I would expect them to be textured. And I'm kind of curious. I think that they're going to be painting these into black so it matches with the glass, but that'll be something that we will watch and see together in an upcoming video. On this south corner, next to the south bridge, we can see more of that trench work. And this is associated with the pipes that are extending all the way along this west berm. And we'll see a little more of that work near the flagpoles later on. But that is the current situation right now with the construction of those pipes. The newly paved highway has now got the stripes on it. And as we resume on the other side of the highway, this is a quick look at this caisson construction project still underway. They're getting ready to take some more of those concrete pipe segments, put it down into that caisson, and then hydraulic rams push it into the bore. That continues underneath the Colorado River directly to the south, just past that tree line to another caisson where the tunnel boring machine is at work boring further to the south. While I'm here also, I wanted to show you next to River Road, there is some excavation work on the south side next to the security gate. And on the upper right, we can see that there is continued activity now with more transformers being delivered. And in addition to that, we see a preparation for a sprung structure on the left-hand side of the screen being erected. And as I bring the drone down in, we can see that transformer. I'll zoom in, and this is what it looks like as they arrive on these covered trailers. And then they place them here on the ground. And the numbers are continuing to grow. In those interviews that I mentioned yesterday, Elon did talk again about some of the critical path items for AI data centers, and transformers are one of them. He called that out again. So I think this is part of the reason why there's so many here. Now, I did mention the sprung structure. You can see on the bottom of the screen, and as I continue to maneuver around, it'll be on the right-hand side of the screen. A sprung structure is kind of like an industrial tent, and it looks like they are assembling it here. It'll be placed right next to the transformers. And on the previous video, we saw the arrival of those temporary structure trailers as they were labeled. And so I expect to see a large sprung structure tent being installed there very soon, and then we'll try to figure out what they're going to be using it for. On this part of the site, the material staging yard, as we have seen before, has a lot of materials for the factory, but the thing I want to look at today is the more transformers that are on this part of the site. And if you combine these and the ones on the south end and a few more over on the east side, it's close to 200 of them that are on site. And I'll continue to watch and see how many more arrive and where they may be used. Of course, at the outbound lot, Tesla has been busy with production. Many of the Model Ys and a lot of Cybertrucks all around this section, and the transport trucks getting ready to pick them up and move off-site. The biggest areas that they go to is the Taylor Rail Yard. It's up about 15 miles north of Giga Texas. And then there are some other storage locations around Austin that they are transported to. Here's a quick closer view of some of the other cars a little further to the north, and at the far top left of the screen we can see more Cybertrucks beginning to accumulate again. Of course, work here at the superchargers and the tents is always busy, especially on a Wednesday as they get the cars charged up and ready for transportation. Now, along these lanes, we are continuing to see self-driven vehicles that come from the factory, just the upper left and top part of the screen, all the way around to this location. Once they stop, then of course the workers then guide them into the end of the line for the next phase of the production, or at least the final checkouts before they are transported off-site. And this is a nice overall shot of the entire outbound lot and what it looks like today. So I'm going to reposition, and we're going to cross over the highway, and we'll resume on the other side. Here's the current situation with the trench work along the berm, some of that large pipe that's being installed into the trenches, and of course the trench boxes in place so that the workers don't have to worry about the trench collapsing in on themselves. Also, next to this temporary, or the platform, is this delivery truck. It looks to me like a lot of these red painted pipes, and those are getting ready to be moved inside. In addition to that, the crane is busy lifting up items and to the roof, and some of them are actually solar panels. You can see where all the workers are standing near that crane, and then some of the other parts that are being delivered. And this is all to support more of those solar panel installations that I had mentioned earlier. And this is kind of what that operation looks like right now. And as I pan the drone to the north, kind of see where those solar panels are going to go at the bottom of the letters on the right hand side of the screen, and that will continue all the way up to the north end. As I come back over to the west side, I'll bring the drone back down and we'll look at what is going on with this employee entranceway and also bus stopping point with those white painted kind of awnings. Of course, they have the landscaping and the planters around that section to make it kind of defined. Don't see any of the cans for the 4680s being recycled today, so let's proceed up to the north end of the factory and take a look at what's going on up here. North end of the paint shop, it looks like the paint stands for the bumpers for the Model Ys. Some of them have been moved inside. Another thing that did catch my attention here on the casting handling lot is over by all of this equipment. Not only do we see the old stands for the old Model Y bumpers on the upper part of the screen, but at the bottom of the screen, now laid out on these pallets in this section, are the Cybercab castings. At least this is what they appear to be, and this is what it would look like at a little bit lower altitude. And they will have more of these over on the berm next to the east side of the casting machine structure. A lot more of the racks with the castings, and these are mostly Cybertrucks on this part of the site. And as we continue to maneuver over this road towards the east side of the melt center, we can see more of those castings, the front ones on the ground next to that white van, and a lot more of the materials on the right hand side of the screen, some of which are for the Gigapress that's being installed inside, and then other equipment as well. Now, we do know that they have the recycling for aluminum well underway now. And in addition to that, we see some deliveries that were in crates that have been opened up. And the kind of skimmer, that yellow item on the bottom, is what kind of skims off the aluminum in the furnace to make sure that they can get rid of the contaminants. This is a great view of the loader being prepared for some more of the aluminum scrap being placed inside. And they have these large bins and they put it in there, and then it is processed. We see also more of these kind of rectangular cube kind of squashed up aluminum parts. Those are other recycled items, and eventually those will be melted as well. As I bring the drone up higher, look down at the baghouse filtration plant. And in addition to that, more of the racks for the castings. This is a great kind of update of what is going on here. Not only are they making a lot of castings, but they're recycling aluminum and then making the alloys necessary to make even more castings, all under one roof using a patented process that we have covered in a previous video. As I come over to the east parking lot, just wanted to show you quickly here the current situation with all of these temporary trailers. These are being placed and came from Aries Construction, all preparing to move the temporary operations that you see at the top of the screen and those older trailers onto this part of the site, and that allowed those older trailers to be moved so there can be additional construction. And I'll have some additional comments about the construction site on the north in a little later part of the video. Just some observations that I'm making that could be kind of exciting and some implications for the future. But right now we'll fly over the East Warehouse on Wheels, looking back to the die shop and the battery cathode plant, also the area where they've been doing some landscaping around those trees, and in preparation for Tesla Road to be extended through this area. All of these trailers and equipment are all part of some of the contractors and the operations that are being used to construct more of the Giga Texas property. And of course, at the bottom of the screen is a concrete company kind of maintenance shop, and that has predated Giga Texas, and it is one of the last of those remaining items that were here before Giga Texas was constructed. And it's a nice view of that maintenance area, and then the rest of the facility with the main factory in the background. So while we're here, I'm going to pan back and get a look at this east side of the battery cathode plant. Of course, the crash test facility with that kind of steel Quonset hut roof, and the graded area here with the outlet for the water filtration pond. All of the earthwork appears to be done right now. There's some of that riprap rock around those areas where it looks like there's drainage. At the crash test facility today, it's really hard to tell what is going on the inside, but based on what we see on the outside, they have a lot of vehicles lined up that are getting preparations for additional crash testing. And this just continues as they develop more of the products and refine them and continue to try to improve safety. So that's the big reason why they have the crash test facility here at Giga Texas. The cell testing lab, it looks like it's busy again today. A lot of activity around. We see more of the materials, especially the steel corrugated pipes being stored around at this section. And while I'm here, I thought I would take a quick flight around this far northeast and show you what is going on today. Now, interestingly, at the bottom of the screen, that pipe that you saw just going by, that's one of the last remaining parts of the original old bag house filtration plant that was up at the north end where the electrical switchyard is now. And that was used for drainage tunnel underneath some roads, and then lately has just been placed up here for eventual recycling. Now, all of what we see on the left-hand side of the screen here is the rental equipment lot and maintenance facility. And this is also what I call the Lone Tree pasture or field. And it does look like there is some active work with these trucks with dirt coming up to this north end. And it looks like they are cutting back some of the berm area, or at least where they've had some dirt stockpiled here. And right next to this tree line. I'm not sure exactly why, but obviously they are interested in using the dirt probably for fill elsewhere and also to prepare this for additional work. Now, through this field and going off to the right-hand side of the screen through where you see the trees, the ponds, and the hills is going to be where the new Harold Green Road is added. And that permit is already completed, and the notifications for the nearby residents have been already given. Now, this large field has a lot of different materials of all kinds, whether it's production items, construction items, concrete vault items, more steel corrugated pipe, and even some equipment items, all being stored at this very far north field. And with a view up at the top of the screen back to the main factory, you can see just how far away we really are. Now, while I was flying back towards the factory, I noticed all of these items, so I thought I would spend just a moment and zoom in and show you what these look like. Now, some of these I think are old milling machines perhaps, and also maybe generators. I don't know if these are just being stored for later use, or if they malfunction, or if they're being used for parts. But this is what they look like here today. And if you have any ideas, let me know in the comment section. I would appreciate that. As we continue to fly back to the south, you see more of the materials all on the ground here, and some of them are in that characteristic red and white painted scheme, and that usually means production equipment. So this has been here for a while, and I don't know if it's just long-term storage or if it's going to be used for something else. But anyway, that's a nice view of the far north. Now, as we fly back over this kind of dirt construction zone, back towards the battery cathode plant, we can see the progress on Cortex 2's facility coming up right in the middle of the screen. Now, we can see that the cranes are at the far north end. More steel has been delivered. One of the cranes is unloading it from the trucks and positioning where it needs to be, while the other one is putting the equipment over, or at least the steel items over for the iron workers to place. This also looks like the structure is maybe close to 75% fully assembled, and they are following quickly from the south to the north the roof decking. And this is just proceeding at a very quick pace. As I'm going to pull back, I wanted to try to just give you an idea of the size of the die shop and the new building for scale. Obviously, the die shop is taller. It's about 2 stories, maybe 3 stories tall, whereas this one is just 1 main floor. And we can get a good sense of its size, the footprint of the site itself, and how it is starting to look with all of that roof decking installed. Now, as I bring the drone down really close to the ground, I wanted to just give you a look inside. There are workers on what looks to be preparation for wall segments, at least some of the mounts. We see workers on more of the perimeter grade beam doing some more rebar framing. And again, it looks like they are trying to prepare for that time when wall panels begin to be installed. Also, some people have asked, why is the ground not completed? Why is it not in concrete form? And that is just sort of one of the construction techniques that they do use here. They put the superstructure up, and then later on they do the utilities and then pour the concrete in place underneath the structure. So that's pretty common, and it's pretty much what I expected to see anyway. Now, I had mentioned that there's maybe some developments going on with construction up here that I find interesting. And part of it is where we see some of the earthwork underway at the bottom center of the screen. Now, this is farther to the east than is necessary to extend the size of the electrical switch yard, which is going to be right in that middle where you see those islands and the poles sticking up. So this suggests this might be another construction project. It also is east of where you see the kind of inlets for the underground water management system. In addition to that, all of this where we see this truck delivering some of these items, and everything to the left of the screen is also not necessary for the extension of the switch yard. We do see some posts on the ground and some pink markings showing where there's going to be some excavation work in this area. So that is something I'll be continuing to watch. But it does hint that we're going to see a lot more construction in this area, perhaps related to the Cortex 2 facility. Maybe it's also related to all of those transformers that we are seeing delivered. While we're at the Megapack 2 site, I will zoom in just to show you that the work is now underway with the main cable installation. Currently, they have the spools on that stand, and they're pulling the cables through onto the cable trays that run down the middle of the screen and between the transformers. This is all necessary to connect the transformers and mega packs together to go up to that control room and allow this to function. I've also had some viewers ask, why is this design of the Megapack different than the original Megapack? And that's a good question. It's something I pointed out before. I do not have an answer to that, other than maybe this is just a more modern design, or at least a more current design with some of the newer equipment. But this is a good view of the old Megapack at the top of the screen and the current Megapack 2 as it is being constructed. So that's going to bring to an end the tour around Giga Texas today. As mentioned in the intro, a lot of big news for Tesla, the robotaxi fleet, what's going on with Elon, and a lot of other events, including the Secretary of Transportation visit here yesterday, which I thought was a significant event and worth covering. So with that, I will end the video, and thank you very much for watching. Have a great week. Take care.